Okay, so this is kind of what we're gonna go for. All right, we're gonna have a nav here, we're gonna have some text, and here is where we're gonna place this image with the bubble thing, and then we're just gonna have a footer. So I also exported these, I just added a gradient on them and exported them. And yeah, let's start building this thing out. So let me minimize this and let's go back to our what is this? Let's see, this is portfolio. I think we can get rid of this Alina Joy. We're not gonna need it anymore. So let's close this up as well. Okay, so make sure SAS is turned on. And also, let's see, let me close these up. And this one, actually we can leave this open because I wanna open up the live server. Okay, so this is what we have. All the text is there. Now what we can do is, as you can see, the text is super small. So let's go back. We have these variables that we made. So let's go back to the global SCSS and basically change them up here. Okay, so what we can do is on the H1, we can change this to header 1, like this. Text is gonna be text. Oh, it keeps switching to this England keyboard for some reason. All right, this is gonna be text. H2 is, we can copy this over. Let's be lazy, everybody. H2, H3, H3, H3. Did you get that reference? No? Okay, let's move on. H4, that's good. And here we can add that gray text on our A tags. Gray text. Hit save, and if it's success, then we know that we are good. Okay, now our text shouldn't be that small anymore. Perfect. Okay, this is gonna be a bit boring, so let's actually add another index, another section here with the images and everything. Okay, so let's open up index.html. Let's go below the header here, and I'm gonna create a section called intro. So section intro. And this is gonna have the intro text. I'm gonna create a div here because this is gonna hold the H2 which says dev ed. Let's do a H3 that says front and web, and I'm gonna add a break here. Developer, like this. Let's add some paragraph here, lorem 10, that's fine. And also, let's add, shall we add a button? No, we don't need a button. What we're gonna have is, let's see, what are we gonna have? Oh, we have the social links, so let's add that as well. Hit enter here, still in this div, I'm Yoda, apparently, by the way I speak. Let's add a intro social, okay? Here, I'm gonna add a tag with a href of, well, you can link it to whatever you want, but in this, we're gonna have an image with icon of GitHub, okay? I'm gonna give an alt of GitHub social link, okay? We can copy paste this over, and this is gonna be changed to LinkedIn, I believe, LinkedIn, and change this to LinkedIn. Hit save, okay, that's what we need. And finally, we're gonna have our image. Now, I'm gonna scare you, but I wanna let you know that everything is okay. So I'm gonna hit this div, and right below it, I'm gonna create another div called intro images. So don't be scared here. I'm not gonna add an image with a source of this, where is it? We have the splash here. Actually, I should move this over here, the splash. And we also have the guy. Where is the guy? GitHub code, symbols, Travelly. I might have not included, okay, so I'm gonna include it here too. I didn't copy over, but you're gonna have it in your files, so don't worry. Let me just kind of drag it over right now. It is, where are you? Okay, so I dragged it over. What you're gonna have is this me SVG. And I'm not gonna link it with an image. Again, don't be scared. What we're gonna do is we're gonna grab this whole thing. So Control Alt and cut it out here. and then I'm gonna paste it right in here, okay, and hit save. And we can actually get rid of this. Let's get rid of it. Okay, now the cool thing is you're gonna see that the image is actually here, and it's all just code basically. So it's a lot because we have a lot of paths here and a lot of little small things. So that's why it takes up a super bunch of space. But okay, so why didn't we add an image with the source? Because that kind of works the same way, right? Well, the problem is if we add image source, we cannot animate these individual properties. So as you can see, we have here, if we kind of scroll down, we're gonna see those things popping up that we saved. Plant left, as you can see, and plant right somewhere, plant right. So as you can see, we have these names here. If we add the image, it's not gonna work. So I know it's not that fun to have these large SVGs in your HTML, but unfortunately, sometimes in life, you have things that you don't like. Okay, so right below the SVG, what we're gonna do is add an image, and this is gonna have a class of splash, splashy splash. And the source is gonna be image splash. Okay, I'm not gonna give any alt because this is kind of decoration. And that's gonna be it. Okay, so that's the whole HTML. Let's close this up. And what we're gonna do is, I think we're gonna create a Sass partial for each different page. So this is gonna be the intro page. So let's go here, and in the styles, let me minimize these. Let's create a new file here and call it intro.scss. First thing I'm gonna do is jump straight to style.css and link it down here. Import intro, hit save. Okay, so that's the first thing I'm gonna do. Lovely. So let's jump into the intro.scss and let's see what we have here. Okay, so let's kind of get this fixed, the nav. Now what I want to do is actually not make it that long. As you can see, it kind of goes halfway here. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab that main head, and I'm going to give it a width of 95% and a margin of 0, 0, 0, 0, and auto. So I only want it on the left side. There it is. Okay, now since we're using Sass, you might be like, okay, let's just stack everything in here, H1, everything. This works fine, but I want to give you a small warning. If you start stacking everything in here together, and later on you might want to select with media query, so you might do a media query here, and then you want to do nav like this and change maybe the width to 100%, it's not going to work. And the reason why it's not going to work is because since you've nested everything in here, this is going to compile to this main head nav. And this kind of goes back to the CSS specificity. As you can see, this is 0, 1, 1, and this is going to be 0, 0, 1. So this is not going to apply. So what I would actually recommend doing is the things that you have classes on, kind of keep them separate. And these elements, so don't nest so far. If you have like just divs with maybe H2s and H1s that you want to style, then do that. So do nav H1, nav UL, that's fine. But don't do like a huge structured nest, okay? So what I'm gonna do is actually remove this, everything here. So I'm gonna just keep this simple like this, all right? And the nav, here I'm gonna add the H1 and the UL, that's fine, because I know that I'm gonna probably style them anyway, and it's not so deeply integrated. I don't know what I did here, let me close this. Okay, so first of all, what I want to do is add a display flex to this probably, right? Okay, so what I can do is actually use that helper tool that we created. So I can do include flex, and I can just do space between center and row. And done. Take a look at that one line of code, and we did so much already. So this is the nice thing about Sass. Okay, let's kind of change the min height of this to something like 10 VH, that's good. And let's also add a width of like 60, all right? We're gonna make this shorter. Or 70, 60 is fine. Let's try it like that. And let's do a flex wrap of wrap. Okay, because we're gonna wrap these eventually. So there we go, looking good. we made this way shorter. If we take a look, inspector, there we go. So it's way shorter. Okay. Next, what I want to do is in this nav, I'm gonna grab the logo. All right, so I'm gonna do a bit of nesting here, but not too bad. I'm gonna do include flex. Let's do flex start, center, and row. All right, and I'm gonna also do flex 1, 1, and 10 rem. Okay, like that. And on the UL, I'm kind of gonna copy this over again, paste it here, and just change this to space around because the UL needs to be spaced around. Space around. Okay, hit save, and I'm also gonna give this a flex of 1, 1, let's do 40 to give it more space. All right, so we gave it way more space because if we leave this in 10 as well, I kind of want this to wrap way easier. So right now, it doesn't wrap that fast. So 40 is gonna make this wrap sooner. There we go, better. But we're gonna add some media queries and make this a bit nicer because it's still kind of finicky. So it's fine. Okay. Let's also, I'm gonna go in this logo and just add a H1 and do a 2 margin rem. Okay, there we go. Just give it a bit more space. Okay, that's good. Let's kind of mess around with the intro, which is this. Let me scroll back all the way up here. So we have this intro section where we have the text and the illustration. So let's go back here. Let me full screen this a bit. Okay, intro.scss. Here we're gonna select the intro. I'm gonna give this a height. Let's do min height. Let's do 90 VH. I'm gonna give it a width of 90% and a margin of auto. All right, so all my text again kind of goes and stays within this line. Okay. Next up, what I want to do is do a flex wrap of wrap. And then I'm going to do this include flex space between again, center and row. See how many times we use this thing? It's crazy. Hit save. And we are like almost halfway there. Okay, so what we also need to do is kind of take this background and position it up here. Because right now, it kind of ruins everything for us and it ruins the flow of the page. So I'm gonna go down here. I wanna make sure I'm outside of the intro. I'm gonna grab the splash. I'm gonna give it a position of absolute. I'm gonna do top 0%. Right 0% and give it a height of 100%. Okay. So there it is. Nice. Okay, but I want this to go behind, so we can use Z index for that. Z index -1. Okay, there we go. Oh, so as you can see, our content already jumps there. So it's kind of already in position. So when we go down here, it's going to jump down there. Okay, but this still doesn't look that great. I mean, it looks good here, but we can make the text. And when we make it smaller, what we can actually do so this splash kind of doesn't cover everything up because the contrast is not going to be that great on top of it. And it kind of looks weird a bit. I think I'm going to remove the splash when we get to smaller screen. Okay, you can maybe use another splash. You can create one specifically for mobile if you want, but I like the simplistic look. Okay, so let's kind of mess around with the text and make it look nice. So let's scroll back up here. And after the intro, let's see, intro here, inside the intro, I'm gonna do H2. Okay, I'm gonna do a font size of, this is gonna be, I think we're gonna create one specifically here for this text. So we're gonna just do a 8 rem. I'm not gonna use a variable. Or what we can actually do is Since this is going to be unique and I'm not going to use it anywhere, I'm not going to create a variable for it because I just want this first page to be having this large text. Okay, so H2 is going to have that large text. Let's add some padding top to it. Let's do 2 rem. Okay, and what I want to do is actually, so I added a bit of padding top, so when we kind of go smaller screen here, it's not really stuck all the way up there in the corner. Okay, good. So what I want to do is add that gradient. So I want to use this gradient and add it to the text. So how can we do that? Well, we learned that we can do it with the background clip. So we can do background, we just add it to the background, and I can use that gradient that we made. Okay, why are you opening? So there we go, that's what we have. And now what I can do is say WebKit text fill color, WebKit text fill color, like this. Okay, and I can say transparent. Hit save. Why do you keep opening? Oh my goodness, this is so annoying. Close. All right, so basically what we do now is clip the background to the text. So we can do background clip, and we can use text. Okay, and that's gonna fix everything up for us. There we go. Okay, now there's a slight problem with this. And the problem is that we can mostly see the green and not really the blue. And if we take a look here, is because the H2 stretches all the way here and the gradient goes from here to here. So how can we fix this? Well, we can make this element the size of the element, right? Because this kind of stretches all the way here. We have these, what am I trying to say? I just want to say that I want to make this the size of the text and not large like this and stretching all the way. Sometimes I have these brain farts and it amazes me that I learned how to code. Okay, anyway, so simple way, if you remember, we can do that with display and change this to inline block. Okay, and then it's not gonna take up the whole space. So there we go. So now, as you can see, the element got short and it's the size of the text. Okay, so there we go. We fixed that issue. I'm not sure. I apologize. I don't know why these control save. Okay, so let's see. Maybe if I switch here, it's not going to open anymore. It is. Are you going to give me trouble forever? Apparently, yes. Let me see if I can log this in any way. Is there a way of not making this pop up? Anyway, I'm gonna figure out after this episode. Let's just keep going because I have just a bit left here to show you. Okay, so we added the H2. Let's also grab the H3 and add a font size of 6 rem. Hit save and a bit of padding to it. Let's do a padding of 2 rem and 0 rem, so only top and bottom. And then let's grab the p tag and do a padding of, let's do a padding of top only of 2 rem and a color of gray text. Okay, I'm gonna get that variable from this and hit save. Okay, there we go, just gave it a bit more space. It looks way better. And finally, let's kind of mess around with these images as well. So these are the intro socials, I believe. So let's go here, all the way down here. I'm gonna grab the intro social. I'm just gonna add a margin top to them of 4 rem. All right, this is gonna give a bit of space. All right, and I kind of want to separate these as well. So I can grab the A tags in here and do a margin right of 5 rem. Okay, there we go, space them out a bit, looking good. Perfect. Last thing I want to do is I actually want to add a state on this anchor tag so it looks like we are on this page. So the way we can do that is let's create an active class down here. So I'm going to create an active. This is going to basically have a background of gray text. I'm going to add a color of white and a padding of 1 rem, 3 rem, and just a border radius of 2 rem. Okay, so now I can go on the element I want. So I can go back to index.html. I can go to all the way up here. So home is active right now. We're eventually going to switch to another page, but right now what I can do is just add a class of active on this. Okay, hit save, and as you can see, boom, we have the styling applied to it. Okay, wonderful. Let's see, should we do anything else? Oh, let's just add the, let's see, did we add the wrapping, the flex one to the both images? Let me kind of take a look at this really quickly. Okay. So what we can also do is just grab that intro text and intro image, intro text and comma, intro images. Let me just double check to make sure this is correct. So we have intro text, so basically the text here, and intro images, which is our SVG. Now all I'm gonna do is add a flex 140 rem to this, okay? Hit save. So now let's take a look. It wraps a bit sooner, I think. There we go. Okay, perfect. So that's gonna be it for this round. In the next round, we're gonna start animating this and making it look very fancy and cool looking. So I'll see you in that one.